Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, was my introduction to this franchise half a decade ago. And since then, I have been a fanboy of this franchise and its creator, Hideo Kojima-san. Now, although MGS 5 was my first game in the franchise, a title which is praised and hailed upon the most is eventually Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, the magnum opus of Hideo Kojima. And before touching the remake, it's very important to talk about the soul of it, the original Metal Gear Solid 3, the first video game which made me cry. MGS3 was the pioneer form of storytelling through video games with such a beautiful and perfect balance between gameplay and narrative, which this sole franchise was also unable to achieve ever after this game. Metal Gear Solid 3 was the game which redefined the rules of this industry. It was the game which broke the shackles of entertainment and substance. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater was the game which made me cry. And so naturally, when Konami announced a remake for Metal Gear Solid 3, I was skeptical, yet hopeful, because I love Metal Gear Solid 3. And as of then, I had already done 6 playthroughs of it, and I knew every single corner of this game. So, was Konami able to preserve this legacy, or the capitalism buried this timeless gem 6 feet under with it?
I feel content. Snake, I loved you. I've given you weapons, taught you techniques, endowed you with knowledge. There is nothing more for me to give you. All that's left for you to take is my life, by your own hand. One must die, and one must live. No victory, no defeat. The survivor will carry on the fight. It is our destiny. The one who survives will inherit the title of boss. And the one who inherits the title of boss will face an existence of endless battle.
Now my words are frosted with every breath. Still the heat burns wild, growing inside this heart. When the wind changes course, when the stars align, I will reach out to you and leave this all behind. Heaven's divine.
The boss wouldn't be allowed to come back
Think
home
you can
alive,
pull the trigger?
and she wouldn't be allowed to kill herself. Her life would be ended by her most beloved disciple. That was the way the government wanted it. That was the mission she was given, and she had no choice but to carry it out.
When heavens divide, I will see the choices within my hands. How can we ever protect and fight with our tiny souls? Let me shine like the sun through the doubts and fear. Do you feel the storm approach as the end draws near? When heavens divide, time will come to softly lay me down. Then I can see a place that I see it. To see. And for
Do you hear me, Snake? I am the end. And you know what I saw there. Fury. Snake!
I will dive into the fire.
no one has ever known the truth. Her story, her debriefing, will endure only in your heart. Everything she did for her country. She sacrificed her life and her honor for her native land. She was a real hero. She was a true patriot.
Since the reveal of this remake, we have been pleaded with takes like this is a very non-innovative remake which is not trying to improve upon anything but copy the same thing that the original game did, with more quality of life features while preserving the originality of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. And as soon as I booted the game, I was astonished by how modern the visuals were looking while being faithful and very much similar to the original game, because although there is a lot of attention to detail, but the artsy animation style of original remains. And for that, I'm really grateful to this development team of Konami and Virtuos. This is a remake which feels like a product which was designed by the fans of the game themselves, where of course a lot of mistakes have been done, specifically with some of the gameplay aspects, where some really goofy and funny movement system which were totally a Kojima thing was missing. But they are pretty much ignorable at an extensive scale because all the important stuff is still intact. And to why this game is such a important part of this franchise? Well, I really want to talk about that too, because this is not a review, isn't even a retrospective. This is just a fanboy talking about the remake of his favorite video game. Metal Gear Solid 3 was the game which I explored at the time of my life when I was just starting to see and understand this whole double standard world outside. And as much as I got to know it, I started to hate it more and more. Something very nocturnal started to develop inside me. And that is when I came across a game called MGS 5 Phantom Pain. And because of that game, I was able to find a place to sit alone in peace. Because sometimes you just need something to sit with, empty-handed. After finishing MGS 5, I wanted more of this world, and that is when I booted up Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater on my old ass PC using an emulator. And throughout the game, I was not anything. I was just a part of it. My codex became the medium to talk to my best friends. Now I know that they end up fusing and making kid clones of Snake out of the Chinese chick we get later, but we are talking about MGS3, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I really forgot to add jokes in the script. Never mind. But yeah, the moments like the movie recommendations Paramedic used to give us when we wanted to save the game was the soul of it. Metal Gear was also the franchise which very beautifully encouraged and glorified the use of non-lethal ways against enemies and gave you a reason behind that. Every time you used lethality in any of these games, it meant dearly because it was substantial to the plot, to you, to me, to sorrow. Every soldier carries the souls of the people they have killed. Metal Gear Solid 3 is a game with a very heavy ending, an ending which will leave you scarred on an emotional level. Metal Gear Solid 3 was also about ideology and sacrifice. The sacrifice ideology will make you commit when the time comes. There are very few mediums of drama which carry the power to change something in you, and that ending was one of them. The boss's character is solely the reflection of a more wiser and lived generation, giving the baton to us, the coming generation, the future, to make and leave our legacy behind to be remembered. Because that is what the purpose of life is. It's not about living, it's about leaving something to remember. When Snake was standing in front of that unnamed grave, crying, I was there too, crying with him. Because at that moment, he was not the only one who admired Boss, but I was too. The whole Cobra unit of Boss is just a representation of everything wrong with war or society. The pain as a character represented the suffering and physical torment of war, how soldiers endure agony on both mental and physical basis. The fear represented the dread of dying slowly in the battlefield alone without anyone you love beside you. The end represented the inevitability of everything good or bad coming to an end, and you can't do anything to change that except endure it. The fury represented the rage and disappointment of life and decisions it carries and how it consumes oneself. The sorrow represented the consequences of your choices and how you have to face them no matter what. And finally, the boss. She described to me what it meant to leave behind something to remember, what it meant to be something greater for the people who will walk after you. So does Metal Gear Solid Delta succeed to keep this feeling while being a modern game? Well, yes, but there is still a but. The engine, the Unreal Engine 5. Most likely you already have came across all the Unreal Engine 5 allegations so far, and even I am pretty much with it. Because already we have witnessed a lot of UE5 shit, where game turns out to be pretty good, but the optimization is the part which degrades it. Now, don't take me wrong. It's not Stalker 2 level of fucked up. Hell, it's even better than Spider-Man 2, which was not even a UE5 game. So, the Slop part of my thumbnail is definitely not justified, but I don't care. A remake's job is to preserve the legend while making it more accessible to the modern audience, with keeping the originality of the source material intact. Does Delta succeed in doing that? No, it does not. But what it does is that it tries to be what Snake Eater was once, making it a better remake in the industry. And should you try this? Well, the answer to that question solely lies within you. What I could give here is give you my opinion, because this channel is not going to be about judging video games. It's going to be about what they mean to me. Metal Gear Solid Delta is a emotional ride through my memory lane, and I love it. And in the end, no matter how many times I end this title, it will make me cry. So yeah, MGS Delta is a shadow of a masterpiece, which was better than what I had hoped for. This was Phantom speaking, and I will see you in the next one, and hopefully a little more sarcastic one.